Bad manners.
Okay, accepted.
More grave manners when you didn't add the appellation of the man. It's the emperor
Neither
of
did
the
I add
S-ray.
for her as well.
It shouldn't be an oversight, please. Always address us with our title, deserved title,
Okay.
The Emperor Harry Spice and
and
the
the
Empress.
empress.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Interesting. Well, we're not here to talk about you both. um, we always focus on trending matters in the society as they present themselves. Now, yesterday, former President Olusegun Obasanjo kind of dropped a bombshell to President Muhammadu Buhari. It's got a lot of people talking. He advised the president to not recontest come the year 2019, especially during the presidential election. So, yes, so many people got talking. And, well, that same yesterday, Tuesday, precisely, governors, legislators, and political leaders cutting across the two major political parties, that is the All Progressive Congress, APC, and the People's Democratic Party, PDP, met Tuesday night at an undisclosed location to continue discussions on the formation of a new major political party. Now, sources conversant with the move to form a third major political party to wrest power from the APC informed this day newspaper that the meeting on Tuesday night was a follow-up to previous meetings held by the amorphous group of political leaders in Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and London, with the objective of forming a third force that can meet the aspirations of its members. Now, one of the source who provided clarity on the coalescing of politicians that can chance the APC and PDP in the next general election explained that the concept of a third force in the political firmament has two strands. One is the Nigeria Invention Movement, that is not a political party but is trying to galvanize professionals, civil society groups, and activists to support credible candidates in different parties. Well, we'll stop here. I mean, it goes on and on with more details and all that. But two things here. Obviously, the statement from the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, did not necessitate this meeting. As it said here that it was a continuation of conversations that's been already underway. However, of interest here is that members of the two major political parties met and talking about, getting another third opposition party started.
Okay.
Do we need more political parties?
Interesting times, for a country in need of direction, development and growth. In the theory of elitism, there's a word they call elitist circulation and dislocation. What is happening, it's the struggle for power, the struggle for relevance, the different actors who are feeling left out, those who are not in the cohort of the present government, definitely will have to rise up to actually gain back that power, fame, and influence they are supposed to get. If you look at the whole calculation permutation, it's to wrestle power from the incumbent. It's not a struggle for how we can, advance development. Nobody is talking about how our educational sector has collapsed. Nobody is talking about how we can resuscitate our health institution. Like I said last time, Lassa fever is ravaging our medical, personnel. Nobody's talking about it. But we have the resources, we have the energy to travel to Saudi Arabia, UK, to discuss way forward in terms of who succeeds who and who displaces who. This is who we are. Concerning Obasanjo's letter, beautiful postulation from a former president to his compatriot. I love everything he said. There's nothing wrong in advising a man, advising a friend, advising a compatriot. But where he missed it, and I had to read some malicious intent, was when he said, "Do not contest." You don't tell a man not to aspire. It's his right. The Constitution permits it. give him his advice. It's left for him to take. But saying please don't contest is like you're trying to stop, impede on his fundamental human right. Nobody has that power to tell another person not to aspire. If you think he isn't fit again for the podium or the presidency, as the case may be, wait for him at the poll. You understand? Wait for him at the poll and vote him out. Don't, telling him not to contest is like you're saying, please stop breathing. That is the only, no that will actually take from Obasanjo's letter to the president. Again, what is the intent of the letter? Is it meant to spur him to work more, to wake up, or it's meant to, cause, disunity, distractions in governance? If I can vividly remember, since the coming of President Muhammadu Buhari into power, former President Obasanjo has visited him repeatedly. So why shouldn't, is it that he has no access again to this man, that he has to do a public letter? As an elder statesman, it's his right actually, but you don't give an advice in the market square to somebody you have access to in his living room. Yeah. Then talking about the more parties, as we speak, there are almost 100 political parties as we speak. The irony, yes, the irony with us is that it's not the parties that matters, it's the people. Are we bringing in new people, new ideologies, new attitudes to these political parties? If not, no. I see no reason for any call for any political party. What we should be talking about is how to build, our attitude, how we can be seen to change the tide of our governance. If you like, bring somebody form a new party, is the same set of people. The people in PDP yesterday are still the people in APC today, whether I like it or not. So if there's another movement, it's still the same people who are in the APC and PDP that also move to this party. So it's like changing vehicles. You're going to a destination, you keep changing your vehicle. Until you change your plan, perhaps not going to where you're supposed to go to, is the same journey to nowhere.
Okay. Here we are again. It's 2019, and politicking has started already. And it's not strange. This is the time. Okay. If I have to react to the letter by the former president, I have not read. But I think a time has come for us to begin to that political godfatherism thing. I think we should depart from it. No single person should think that he or she is too strong, and then he or she decides who governs the nation, Nigeria. We are in hundreds of millions now. Okay, so as an elder statesman, you can have a say and you can advise properly, but then I think nobody should begin to think that, yes, I should decide who contests and who does not contest. The last time the INEC chairman said we have about 67 political parties already, and he said that about 80 groups are still have applied again to become registered as political parties. They have the right, okay, according to our constitution. But then, is that what we need now? 57 years after independence, we still have fluctuating governance. We still have political parties who don't seem to have been granted or have ideological foundation that is geared towards improving the life of the people. Okay, everybody, all these 67, if you look at it, they have almost like the same ideology, and then the main thing is that which of them are how many of them are committed? Okay? How many of them are committed to ensuring that, yes, democracy works in Nigeria? Is it about the number of political parties? That's not what we should be talking about right now. Okay? These political parties, how have they deepened democracy? What are their contributions to ensuring that we have true democracy in Nigeria? A lot of them are looking for platforms where they can contest elections and win. A lot of the political parties in Nigeria, how many of them are you hearing? Apart from the two main parties and then a few ones again. Apart from that, the rest, you don't hear anything about them. And INEC had said that a lot of them are even out of compliance. you know, to the rules and regulations. One, they will not submit their election expenses. A lot of them don't even have offices in Abuja, and some of them even don't pay rent, so they don't even have, you know, offices.
But I think based on the constitution, you have to belong to a political party before you can be voted.
Yes.
Especially in so. People have to perhaps form these parties so they can belong to at least a political party for them to be voted.
Yeah, they have the right, and they also could also join other existing political parties to make it formidable and deepen democracy, if you ask me. But then we all can't run our own political parties. But if we can, well, then it's okay. But then we should begin to. It's not all about the political parties. By the end of the day, you get the electorate confused when you have hundreds of political parties. Some you don't even know their names, and then let's come together and be more focused, so that the electorate can even, you know, understand more about these things. All right.
You know, we must learn, or should be seen talking about strong institutions, not political parties. You know, the notion of political parties in Nigeria is that it exists to win elections. That is the you know, the tragedy of it. Political parties do not exist merely to win elections, you know, but to be seen involved in talking about critical policies. A political party is supposed to be identified with a certain ideology, being it economy. Let's say, okay, the political party A is interested in economy. What they will be doing is to be checkmating the activities of the present government in terms of economic policy. What party B will be doing is to be looking at the political permutations of the current government. The same thing party C should be interested in the educational policy of the government. But here, nobody is talking about the policies of government. All political parties are interested in its winning elections. And the moment the election is over, all of them will recall back into oblivion and wait until its next election. We need education on how political parties should operate. The National Orientation Agency needs to actually wake up and begin to tell people that this is your function, this is your role as a political party. You are supposed to be creating awareness on accountability, you know, on good governance, on critical infrastructure, on, you know, anti-corruption issues. Political parties exist as a check to the existing government in power, and not necessarily because they want to wrestle power from them. You wait until 4 years to begin to come up that you are a political party. What happens to the remaining years that you're supposed to put these people on their toes? In those days, when at the time of Awolowo, when the central government brings out a policy, they also bring out an alternative, better, an alternative policy, nicely articulated than the one the government brought. With that, what it means is that the government, we are telling you that this thing you think you are doing, this is not how to do it. Do it this way so that it can be good for the system. But in this part of the world, what a political party does is they try to punch hole at the government, at the political party in power, try to distract, try to dismantle their strength, just because so that they can be seen them failing. Political parties are part of the system. Whether APC, PDP, everybody is trying to be president or to take charge of governance so that Nigeria can move forward. If you are not in government today, support that. You as a political party, it is your duty to support that government in power with better ideas, with better criticism, not to be, distracting the government. The more you distract this government, any government in power, the more the country fails. And the same thing, when you are eventually in government, they will also begin to distract you. And
isn't that what is called opposition? I mean,
no, opposition is opposing ideas. I propose this idea. I propose this idea. I want free education for my citizens. Now the opposition party will now say that no, free education cannot work without critical infrastructure. Have you empowered the teachers? This is what you should do to empower the teachers. Remember, the ultimate goal now is to have a better society, a better country first. This is they'll be playing in tandem with themselves. This is what we should be doing. This is, they'll be opposing in ideas, not,
not to tear the other
yes,
one
not
down.
to, because, like I said, the ultimate goal is to have a better society. If we continue in this line, this year the government in power does its own, the new government comes, dismantle it. How will what happens to sustainability? What happens to robust opposition? Opposition is not enmity. Opposite. I think it is, we are opposing what you are saying. We think this is a better way of doing it. Opposition is not confrontation. It's not war. It's not enmity. Remember, Nigeria belongs to both APC, PDP, ABGA, and the rest. And it is Nigerians that belongs to all these parties. And why they are in this party is to have a platform to aspire to help to steer the ship of governance. Not to destroy the ship of governance. Anybody with that mentality of, because it's the APC that is in government, let's make them fail. You are not making the APC fail, you are making your country fail. Because that is why there is a limit for 4 years, 8 years, another person comes in. You are supposed to be building, not to be destroying. This is my own concept of opposition. I may be wrong.
Okay. Well, we'll see about that. You get to call in and share your thoughts on 081-8999-1011. We're looking at whether or not we need more political parties, especially as we have a lot of challenges in the country currently, and also as the 2019 election year is just around the corner. Do we need more political parties, or is it about the people that make up the parties? 081-8999-1011. Remember to turn off your radio when you do call in. Hello? Good morning.
Hello. Good morning.
Welcome. What's your name?
My name is Umar from Cuba.
Okay, Umar, we're listening.
Thank you very much for the good job, wonderful job that you people have done for this country.
Thank you.
And actually, I cannot say Nigeria, we don't have plans. Creating more political party for this and for the this thing is not an idea at all. Though some of us we are fighting for power. When the power enter our hand, we misuse the power. I don't support of that. Secondly, I want to talk about the letter that the former president Olusegun Obasanjo, the PMB, which is President Muhammadu Buhari, the excellent president that we have in the country so far. We in Nigeria, we don't want to suffer. And we don't want to do anything before we suffer. It is not compulsory for all of us to go and work for federal government. When one way block, another road is open. Understand? We don't have impatience. Baba, I don't think he's the father of this country. He's supposed to talk the way.
All right, thank you. We'll have to let you go now. He said to withdraw the letter. All right. Hello? Hello?
Hello? Good morning.
Good morning to you. Welcome. What's your name?
Thank you, madam. I'm calling from Usteku. My name is Ibrahim.
Okay, Ibrahim, we're listening.
What my contribution is that this young man is saying that we in Nigeria we don't want to suffer. But this is not how it's supposed to be. This country belongs to us. And let our leaders or our elite look at it as this woman we are not. Yes, quite right. What APC is trying to put on. The first time when they were doing their campaign, they promised a lot of things that will make us you happy. But later on, what is happening is we don't actually expect that. So what is happening today is look at the APC government. They are siding their party. But if other party do something now, when they matric, they are not doing their own like that. They are doing covering up, and which is very wrong. As a president or whoever you are in this country, carry everybody along. Don't say that this president is your party, this president is your tribe. That something can kill nature. So what this young man is saying, it's not like that. It's not that. Well, look at in America. You see how they are practicing it. But we Nigeria, the way the big men are treating us is very wrong. I don't expect what to say about the back. The back is saying the right thing. As a father, I need to advise. So that is the issue.
Okay. Thank you, Ibrahim, for your contribution. 08189991011. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to
My
X-Ray.
name is Muhammad Kabir. I'm coming from Newcastle.
Okay. Muhammad Kabiru, go ahead.
Yes. This is advice for our former president. Well, he's a good one, but he told the advice wrongly. He has a cordial relationship between him and our dear president. If you give him a visit, even before now, and that is why they are elderly people. It is not when things don't go wrong, then they now seize the opportunity or take the time in order to condemn and put in their own interest. No. They should be there before the thing happens. Or they should go close to him and we have been seeing him go to that pillar. Actually, he has put rapport with him. There's nothing like no, look at their sister. You should go there, even their advice before all this things happen, this one that he points out. He's an elderly man and he is not in the seat. So, in as much as he's not in the seat, he has the long eye to see and pinpoint this, so that we have a good country. It's not now. Therefore, for his own advice again, but not their president should come out for 2019. He has that capacity because he also speaks for his time.
Hello? Hello? Okay.
Are
Hello?
you with me?
Yes, I can hear you now, but try to wrap up your thoughts.
Yes. The time he speaks for 2 times. Constitutionally, the presidents are allowed to speak for the second time. And then he did that kind of advice. So therefore, we want people like him and other leaders that have passed that thing and they know what is entailed to come out earlier. It's not when things goes wrong and
Okay.
No, we are trying to get the out of if president does not give them.
Okay, I think we're just going to have to let you go. The network is not supporting this conversation all the way. All right. Thank you, Muhammad Kabiru, for your contribution. The network there began misbehaving. But sometimes, I don't know, he may not be, will I say politically active? I'm talking about the former president now. He may not be holding any public office at the moment. But sometimes it's like the idea of shaking up the polity, I mean, quote and unquote, seemed to be like a welcome, development to get people to work. Yeah, to motivate you, perhaps to incite you to action in a way. Isn't this perhaps what he was trying to achieve?
I don't think a lot of Nigerians should be very surprised with this letter because the former president has been known for this kind of open letters. He writes these open letters I think he once wrote to Jonathan. A lot of
to the likes of what is it called? Shagari, down to Abacha. Abacha landed him in jail.
so he's been writing this kind of letters, so we shouldn't be surprised. But then I think, like we said, we don't know his intention, but usually you see that people whom we have seen him holding hands and putting into power, then he turns back to now begin to write some of these letters to them. And so Nigerians are wondering, why is this so? And it gives a lot of room for people to speculate and say that, well, they probably are not dancing to his tunes. And that is why, a lot of times we have African leaders leaving their positions, and then by the end of the day, they still want to be controlling from wherever they are through the people that they think
Does that always have to be the case? I mean,
but we don't know the motive behind this letter, so we cannot say that. Okay.
Well, let's see who we have here. Okay, sorry. Hello? Please turn off your radio. Morning to you. Welcome. What's your name?
Hello.
change advocate.
Who?
Mike, change advocate.
Okay. You're welcome. It's been a while. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, we seem to focus more in Nigeria about who occupies which position, particularly the president, who becomes the president, without thinking of the system and the system which they operate on. Now, talking about political party, let me start from there. The best election so far in this country was that which saw MK Abiola emerge the June 12th election, the 1993 election. We only have two-party system that time with option A4. Why are we deviating from that? The way the Nigerian politicians are doing, they use these numerous political parties to confuse most of the electors in the villages who does not really know. Like we're discussing one platform, we say some of them don't even know which party or who. They just tell you vote room or vote umbrella or whatever. They don't even know who those people represent. So that is what I think our politicians are exploring. These numerous political parties, for me, I don't really need it. Even two political parties is okay for us. And like I said, we should concentrate more on the system. Like in this studio that we're talking about, there's a system in place. I remember when we started, we were talking with Tracy, so Peter Kundu now, you are there. It is not about who sits on that seat to anchor this program. But if the system to run this program is put in place that whoever sits there, the program was on, will be on. That is what we'll be concerned on. For example, for instance, the democracy we're practicing, the legislation is supposed to put the executive in check. But as we see that even the affairs legislative body we have, the Senate, it is people from the executive that graduate from their various states that are now turning the Senate into a form of ex-governors. Yesterday, when we did, we were talking about Jonathan giving some governors some money to build ranches in their various states, and they pocket this money. How would the Senate that's supposed to engage these people to when their former colleagues and the rest of them? That is to me, that is where the bulk of this assignment lies. It's not about which political party or who is president of. Let us engage the system that produces people and the system that we use to work, instead of concentrating on who is the president or who occupies which seat. Okay. Until we get that done, for me, we'll be singing the same song that Kingdom Come. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your contribution, Mike, the Change Advocate. 081-8999-1011. Hello?
Hello?
Please turn off your radio.
All right, good morning.
Good morning to you. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Abdullah Mustafa.
Okay, I'm listening.
Calling from Metam. I wanted to talk about the issue of former president.
Go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I supported the former president. Buhari is a good man. He has a good intention of this country, but if you look at the people around him, the health issue, at this moment, I think President Obasanjo is right. And I really supported his view about Mr. President. Mr. President has to go arrest. I supported Mr. President. I started supporting him in 2003, 2007, 2011 till date. And I voted for him. When I was a student in Katsina Polytechnic, that was 2007. I sold my bike. I was riding a Bajaj, this Jinchen bike. I have to sell the bike. I use my money to print posters for Mr. President. Just to tell you to the extent I supported Mr. President.
Okay.
You understand? Yes. But in this case, I really in support of former president. He's right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much for your contribution. Now, personally, I have observed, this same statement he made, so many people made the same statement when, the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, was in office, that he has good intentions, but then the people around him. The same thing is being said about this president. He has good intentions, but then the people around him. How are we getting these people? A few days ago, we discussed, when they were saying the Senate did say we're accusing him of having, bad people in his cabinet, and it was an issue. We're like, okay, how did, the whole appointment thing came about? Who were responsible for appointing these people? Didn't they, do their homework very well? How do we always end up with people who will not support the vision of the president?
All these are coming out because nothing has really changed. in the country in terms of the welfare and what touches the life of the people. You know, when you talk about this current administration, of course, a lot of people were very optimistic. People wanted a change, something different. And then here we now got the president. And a lot of people were expecting, you know, that corruption would have been tackled, life of the people would have been uplifted, the welfare of the people and all that. But unfortunately, when the administration came, the slogan changed in the mouth of the people. And a lot of people now begin to acknowledge the administration or recognize the administration with suffering. You know, you know, the standard of living became too high for people, and so a lot of people started complaining. And you know, just immediately, just few months, you hear people say, "Look, if you go to some places and you say and you mention change, people will begin to stone you because they said, look, this change is,
it's like the
you know,
change
it's
was from bad to
yeah,
worse.
bad to us." So this letter asking the president not to contest, I'm sure a lot of people may want to support that letter. We're not saying the letter is bad, but we're saying that, okay, maybe this is not how it should be or whatever it is. But what I'm saying is that I think a lot of Nigerians have not been very, very satisfied. Despite the economic policies, the beautiful plans, you know, that the administration may have, as long as the cost of living is high to an average person understands governance from the basis of how his life can be improved. If we've not seen changes in our education sector, in the hospitals, on the roads are still bad. And you know, though we know the development is in phases, everything cannot just be done immediately like that. But a lot of people still don't have so much confidence that things have changed for good. So if you're asking for him not to contest, a lot of them will understand really.
But doesn't it go shows that it's not so much about the party, but then about the people? Because if we're saying now many of the governors are now the senators, legislators, you know, and all that, if it's the same crop of people that are being recycled in these public offices, perhaps that is where our problem is.
You know, like Mike, the change advocate, talked about, the problem, it's not the people. The problem is the institution. When you strengthen institution,
there are people in these institutions.
What I'm saying,
and the institution is not on its own.
When you strengthen the institution, you change attitude. We are complaining of the people around Buhari, the President Buhari. We're talking of Nigerians like you and I. If the president should, you know, dislocate these people around him and bring new people, it's going to be the same story of they are not performing well. I don't look at development from that point of who occupies office. I look at the tangibles. Now, Nigerians are suffering. Nigerians are suffering. Why are Nigerians suffering? Because of, you know, where we missed it from the past. We've been a consuming nation before now. And now the new administration is saying we cannot continue to depend on others for our survival. Let's begin to think out of the box. Our dependence on oil cannot continue. We have to think agriculture. And whether you like it or not, there have been some measurable success in agriculture. The TSA that came, where government revenue, you know, was streamlined to a single account, affected so many lives in terms of, you know, free access to, you know, to the national vote. People who were in charge of, you know, accounts, you know, the agencies, department, ministry could disburse money at will. So money was flowing at different left, right, and center. That has stopped. When that stops, that means there won't be enough or plenty of money in circulation for people to spend. And now what has the government done with this money? Have they embezzled the money? This should be what we should be, you know, the questions we should be asking. Have they embezzled this money? Has this money gone into, you know, road construction, hospital, educational strengthening, you know, security, industrialization? This is what we should be talking, and not who occupies office. If you like, bring an Obama to this country. if our institutions are not strong, it will still be the same thing. Biblically, we're told of years of bounties and famine during the time of Joseph, and we saw what happened. I see, if we look critically, works are going on in the country. We've seen how contract for rail has been given from one part of the world to the other part of Nigeria. That is governance that I will measure. Then, in terms of road construction, how much has been given to the Ministry of Works, Power and Housing for road construction across the country? These are things we should begin to measure. Power, has power improved? We're told that the highest megawatts we've generated before was around 4,000, but now we have it as 7,000. That, to me, is also progress. Now, when you begin to appraise governance like this, you are being objective. Then you now go back to where the government has failed. What internal security? We've had pockets of senseless killings in Nigeria. What is the government doing in this area? How can you up your game to stop these killings? We've talked about impunity. Are we still witnessing impunity? Are we seeing situations where court rulings or judgments are disobeyed? Yeah. When you put all this together, this is how you measure governance, not this blanket generalization that people are suffering, the government has failed. You can't measure them. Measure the indices, the tangibles first in governance.
Okay, I'm afraid that's the much we can take on X-Ray this morning. Many thanks to those who called in and those who were unable to get through to us in the studio. And thanks to the Emperor Harry Spice alongside the Empress Oikeke Igadokure. My name is Ruth. I'll be back in the 10 o'clock hour on Pro Bono Chambers. Do stay with us on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM.